Ready, Ronnie?
Yeah, we're live.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to our budget meeting workshop for January 27th to go over our November budget. We'll have our illustrious finance director come up and present us with all the good stuff.
Thank you. First of all, before we start on the November, I wanted to go over, we had a question from the last meeting about the budget, and so I wanted to answer that question. If you'll look at your budget on page 16.
Is this the new budget?
Yeah, the new budget, yeah, that we're going to approve tonight.
Page 16?
Yes. There was a question on what this fines and forfeitures is in Lofty. And what that is if you go to page 19, you'll see the budget for the administration of justice, which is the municipal court. You'll see they take in court costs, revenues. They have different sources of revenues from fines and things that are assessed through the court. And then on the expenditures, you'll see how that's dispersed out. Part of it comes to the city, part of it goes to the county, part of it goes to the state, and part of it goes to Lofty. And then part of it goes to the clerks and judge retirement. So that's kind of the flow of that money. It comes into the municipal court through fines and fees, then it's distributed out to the different departments. And so the number on page 16, that revenue is coming from that expenditure on page 19, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, y'all see the flow of that?
16.
Yeah.
Breakdown.
So that's where that money comes from. Because the question had been, where does the $3,250 in revenue come from for Lofty? It just says fines, forfeitures, and costs. So it's actually from the municipal court. So, okay, into our budget packet for November. We have our November results that we're going to go over tonight. The first page you'll see is our sales tax comparison. I went ahead and put our December numbers in there since we had them so you could kind of get a look at where we're at on December, where we ended the year. We actually ended the year up 3.25% above 2023 for $106,373.47 more. I went ahead and we had talked a little bit about inflation, what our rate of inflation is. So I went ahead and put the inflation rate in there so that you could see that, we met that rate of inflation and still had a little bit over that. But we finished in November, which would have been our receipts for September. We had $313,621.60, which was $667 more than we had the previous year. And then in December, we had $351,136.32, which was $2,857.41 more than we had in December of 2023. So our total sales tax that we took in for the year was $3,377,921.81. On the next page, page 2, this is the just the bar chart comparison to show the 22 year, 23, and 24. Just kind of show you that we're pretty level there. On page 3, this is our sales and use tax distribution. So this was sales tax captured in September from the merchants. It was remitted to the state in October. It was remitted to us in November. And then the breakout that you can see there, $233,000 went into our general fund, $54,000 went into our streets fund, $58,000 went into our parks fund, and $25,000 went into the bond payment. An interesting note on this that we learned at Municipal League last week is they are lobbying the Arkansas legislature now to reduce the amount of fee that we're paying to the state to hold that money. because we send that money to them, they hold the money, they charge us a fee for collecting it, and then they send it back to us. And so right now, they're holding, I think, 3%, and so they're trying to get that lowered because it's creating such a fund down there of all the taxes that are being collected that it was supposed to be just enough money to operate their department on, and now it's got to be where it has this huge budget for that department, so they're trying to get
It's
it.
probably an interest-bearing account, I would think. As much money's in there, that'd be stupid if it wasn't.
Yeah,
So, I mean, that even generates more income for them.
Right.
Because it's got to be a huge fund.
yeah, that's what they said. I can't remember exactly how many millions of dollars they said were in it, but it was unbelievable amount.
Yeah.
But so they are lobbying to get that. So if they get that reduced, then we'll see more of our sales tax coming back to us.
A little bit.
But the legislators aren't real receptive to that.
Really?
being done.
Yeah.
They like to take the money, but they don't like to give it back.
Page 4 is just our breakdown of our sales. Oh, I'm sorry.
So with the lobbyists, or lobbying this, is there anything we can do? Like, can
You
we
can
contact
the
somebody?
legislators and ask them to,
And what is it called exactly?
It's the fee that they charge for sales tax collection, the DFA, Department of Finance and Administration.
there hadn't even been legislation written yet. We can't, they're trying to find a sponsor just to introduce legislation, which may be impossible.
So on our sales tax collected, you can see that food and beverage was 71,000, lodging was 90,000, and all other miscellaneous was 220,000 for the total of the 382,507 for the month of November. Following that, the next few pages is the breakout of what all those various taxes were, the detail. On page 15, this is our revenue and expenditures report. So through 11/30 of 2024, which is 91.53% of our fiscal year completed, we are at a revenue of about 80% of what of our total budget, and we're at 90% on our expenses. We are showing total revenue so far that we've collected is 10.6 million, and our total expenses have been 11.7 million, with $1 million of that, pretty much over $1 million of that, 1.1 million of that being in the water sewer fund. The next few pages on that is the detail behind that.
Real quick.
Huh?
The capital infusion, that's the breakdown on how we covered that
Yes.
$1 million deficit.
Yes, that, and if you'll see, the capital infusion is how we covered it, and to the right of that is your general ledger accounts, that if you want to look something up in the detail, that'll tell you where it's at.
Okay, yeah.
Those are the general ledger numbers of where all that money came from. So the next few pages is the detail of the revenue and expenditures. So if anybody has any questions on any of that. Then our next page to go over is page 38 of 42. This is our capital expenditures of what we had spent, what we've spent so far through the end of the year, through November. We did have a few things come in December, but not a lot. So we had budgeted $1,058,000 for capital expenditures, and we've spent $849,000 of that. There's about $40,000 in fire that's been carried over to 2025 because the gear didn't come in on time. The streets, theirs was a little bit lower than what we had projected because he bought a backhoe, but he was going to get a trailer for it, but it hasn't come in. And then our computer upgrades have started, so there's some of that money's in there that we budgeted for the computer upgrade. They're working on that. Page 39 is our comparative bank balances. We finished the month of November with $6.5 million in the bank. The previous month, we had 6.3, so we saw a little uptick there. So, when you look at a year that kind of shows what we have spent and what we've had come in, if you go back and look at the first column, we started with 7.1 million, almost 7.2, and we're, at the end of November, we're 6.5, almost 6.6. So we've lost some money, but we gained some money too, even though we had to do capital infusions. And then our next page is our bank balance chart. Page 41 is our long-term debt. There's really no changes here. Our next payment is on April 1st, which is an interest payment on our bond. Then we've paid all of our payments for our solar lease project. We have our December payments, so we'll take that off on our next one. And then our investments, everything is invested through 2025. So nothing comes available on it till March.
Speaking of the solar lease, now that we've been at it for a while, how much money have we saved?
Honestly, let me defer that question until the next council or budget meeting, because we're meeting with them in the next, I think it's, is it this Thursday? Yeah. So we're actually meeting with the solar lease project this Thursday, and he'll give us a lot of that detailed information. So
Okay.
let me, if you'll hang on just with me.
Not a problem.
I'll get you all that, get you more detailed information than I can just give you kind of off the top of my head.
Sure.
So, page 42, that's our monthly water payment purchase. And so you'll see in November, I went ahead and put the December number in here. In November, for October, we spent $51,000. And for December, which was for November, we spent $41,810. So we spent roughly the same amount of money in 23 as we did for 24 when it came to water. So, and in the first part, and why that's kind of significant is in the first part of the year, we had a lot of leaks. And so we had big leaks, and so our water cost us a lot of money. And then we were able to, as those leaks got better, we were buying less water. So it kind of averaged it out. So that's it.
The cost of the water did go up, so.
Yeah, well, no, it didn't. We did not have a rate increase from Carol Boone this January. So, yeah.
Last January, we didn't have one?
Last January we did, yes.
Yeah, so it's showing here, right?
Right, it would show here,
Yeah.
yes.
That's what I mean.
And then down at the bottom of it, we have shown you this just to kind of show you what our monthly billing is. And you can, the reason why I wanted to kind of put this on there is you can see if you go to the bottom, you can see what our November bills were. It was $78,000 was billed for water, $55,000 was billed for sewer, $18,000 went to I&I for a total of $152,000 billed. In November, we billed $113,000, $88,000, $21,000 for a total of $222,000. That December bill did include our price increase. So we'll see those numbers going up.
Just offhand, how soon will we get the rate study?
Rate study, he's telling us that it's going to be February. He's going to have it completely done in February.
Okay.
It's almost here.
Yeah.
No, really?
He has a lot of the information that basically that he needs. He's just getting additional information from Zane on like depreciation and things like that of the equipment, trying to factor in of what that's going to cost and how that will affect rates. And that's kind of, we were almost done. We pretty much were done with everything that I needed to give him. He and I went back and forth over it and had it worked out to where we thought it should be, and then Zane kind of came in with some new numbers, and so it kind of drug it out another month, so,
Okay.
yep.
Well, there's some different ways we can go with rates, so
Yes.
it is a little complicated.
Yeah, when we get to that point, we'll probably have a workshop just based on that, of how we want to go forward with it.
Good.
Some cities are doing it to where they're just kind of doing it a little bit at a time. And some of them are passing resolutions to where it lays it out over the next couple of years, so everybody kind of knows where you're going. So we'll have a couple of options there we'll look at. So does anybody have any questions on the budget packet or anything new on the budget? All right.
Thank
If there's
you.
nothing else, then we will adjourn and reconvene at 6 o'clock for our council meeting.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.